All right. To anybody that actually watches these, I wanted to cover a little bit of what I've been alluding to in my, or a little bit more of what I've been alluding to in my titles. That being about this geometry aspect, it being competitive, and it being with a dance partner. Covering that last one first, Wing Chun does not work without a dance partner, without an opponent. It doesn't. You can do performance, which is great, like I just did. Not that what I just did is great. Obviously, there's a lot of things in there that I don't like myself that I want to get better at. But you can do that. I have a friend online that just did some stuff, both performative and combative, in a tournament and did very well. Came in second place in both, which is fantastic. But you cannot do Wing Chun as it's intended without that other person. And what I mean by that isn't just that, well, duh, you can't take someone down who's not there. You can't knock someone out who's not there. It's also that you are not the initial aggressor. Wing Chun doesn't work that way. It's not an offensive art. There are offensive components to it, but it is not an offensive art. It is it's not even, I would argue, a defensive art. There's an argument to be made there because I do consider it self-defense. However, I consider it more of a responsive art. It only functions responsively. There is defensive components. There are offensive components. And there are instances where, if you've made some kind of bridge contact and then their arm on this side goes way out here, just smack them. Like, you're not going to follow them out this way. You're going to go straight in. There are components of that. So there are times when you are almost entirely on the offensive. There's no extra cover. There's no extra ton or anything. You're just hitting. But it doesn't function that way. It has to go from my opponent is coming at me to I've done something. I've covered. Okay, they're pushing this way, which tells me that I can come over this way. It's not now I've done my fook, now I punch. And then they're going to counter and I'm going to block and punch and block and punch and take myself back to my old karate days. Not that karate necessarily has to function that way either, but that's the way I was taught it. Maybe a little bit more advanced than that. I might be overgeneralizing a bit, but yeah. No, this has to function as I've made my bridge contact. Where am I? Am I on top? Am I underneath? Am I on the indoor? Am I on the outdoor? Are they pushing up? Are they pushing down? Are they pushing this way, to this way? Are they pushing in? Are they pushing going back? I have to feel all of that to determine, oh, no, that's my motion. I'm underneath, I'm on the indoor, they're pushing that way. So they might think they're going to my center, but they're just missing. Or I'm shifting, so even though they were at my center, now they're not. And then I'm helping it by coming underneath. New bridge contact, elbow forward to their body, cuts them off more for my strike. All of that is responsive. Even though there is a defensive component, there's an offensive component, there's a rotational component, which I'll get to in a second and a little bit more. So that's that last part, that has to have a dance partner. I can't feel which of those things to do unless I have a dance partner. All that they do, me being the attacker, whether it's a hook punch, whether it's a straight-on punch, whether it's a kick, whether it's some kind of combo, whatever it is that they're doing, I'm having to feel some bridge motion. It doesn't have to be impact. It just, I can feel what you're doing, and you have to be giving some amount of force, because if you're not giving force, you're either just static or you're backing up. In either case, I should be doing something. If you're giving force, I can feel that force. I should know, or I should be doing something to that force. and you have to be giving a direction. Those are two components that you have to have. That direction can be back, it can be forward, it can be off-centered, it can be down, up, it can be wherever. So me as the defender, I have to feel that and go, okay, I see where you're going. Keep going there. Or I'm going to help you get there better. You're going to, and the more force that you use, and the more force that I don't use, the more relaxed I am, and the more structure I utilize, the softer I am in response to this, the more you should fall, giving more momentum for my hit, which is fantastic. So you need that dance partner. Tells you what to do. Competitive geometry. Wing Chun is entirely physics. I don't subscribe to the chi notions of any variety like that, chi, ki, chakra, whatever it is. I don't. For me, this is all physics-based. Anything that you can say, oh, you know, he can feel his chi, he can redirect it, so now it's stronger or whatever. To me, that's either fake, whether the person intentionally is doing it or not. It might be, everybody might be convinced and it might not be real. More likely, and I'll give the credit to this because I do think that there is some reality to it. It's just has learned to manipulate different muscular structures to different degrees, how to feel your push through different joints and how to spread that. It's just having learned how to control your body to that level. It's not magic, it's not spiritual. There's an argument for the spirituality of things, but it is just physics. You know, kinesiology, or kinesthetics, you know, there might be some chemistry, biology, whatever, it's physics, right? So you have all these shapes. And if we go back as far as we can to our young childhoods, most of us, I'm sure, myself at least, and a lot of people I know, you've got your basic, your simple machines. So you have an incline, you have or a slope, right? Or a lever, you have pulleys, you have corkscrews, you have all these different things, and you have different ideas, different concepts with them, like wheels doing rotations. Pulleys have weight distribution from all that. Your lever, you know, what's closer, what's further away, how do you get that fulcrum? I'm sure anybody who knows anything could probably just deconstruct everything I just said and tell me where I went wrong on some detail. I'm not going to profess to be an expert at that whatsoever. I have basic knowledge, but I'm happy to learn, so if you can correct me, please do. Just don't take me as gospel. But I think my point gets across, right? So one imagery that I like to have is I've got a triangle going down this way. You can see it kind of in my stance, right? And then I have a triangle going up this way. My stance is my elbow is locked to my stance, to my hips, to the floor. So anything I do is like a wedge moving in, if you can imagine that. So if I have a target, if I have a person there, I can maintain that and lift up like what they call it, what is it, a cow catcher on a train. You know, you've got your front triangle there, hit something, imagine a cow going up. Imagination, don't do that. Same sort of idea, right? You can lift someone up without having to actually lift. Just use physics, move forward, creating that wedge. Keeping yourself locked to the ground, structured down, so that any back force isn't going into your body, you're dispersing it out. And then at some point, if you can no longer hold that, you're going to collapse somehow and break. That's when your shift comes into play and you disperse that energy off. So that's, I guess, where the geometry is. And like I said, it's combative because, you know, it's violent, it's fighting. But you're both using these geometric shapes, whether you both are intending it or not, and you both are making these shapes. And so you can learn, how does a wedge function against this? How do I use an incline to my advantage to reduce effort, right? Increase my efficiency. How does a corkscrew function? And there's always, in my mind, there's always a linear aspect to every motion and a rotational one, a curved one. Even a punch straight forward, my fist follows a straight line. Let's see if I can line it with something. There. My fist follows that straight line, but there is a curvature, right? That elbow isn't, it's not coming down here, right? The elbow is racing. The elbow is in line here. The elbow is turned in. The hips are turning. There's always some kind of rotational force at play, even when something is directly forward. Futsal, it's not just jut to the side. There is a curve along with it, while my elbow force is directly forward. Hit, right? There's a straight line, but there is a curved motion to it. But you don't focus necessarily on one or both. I'm probably going off and over detailing things at that point. What I wanted to try and get to, I don't have a segue. I just picked this thing up. It was cheap. It was cheap. But it's actually been helpful in demonstrating a couple of points I wanted to make as well. You know, it's just inflated. There's not much to it. But you can see that directional force, right? That goes straight in. Of course, in our style, we don't hit back here. We hit here. So we'd come in and whack, right? Everything there. Here, futsal. Hit. Now you notice it's coming back towards me, right? So that, like I said, that dance partner shit comes back towards me. I'm just helping it go. I'm not pushing it out to the side. If anything, I can move my hand, it'll still go. I'm doing very little except maintaining structure. If he pushes back this way, I allow it. You know, when you dance and you have that leader follower, in being combative, that can flip back and forth. Oh, now he's coming this way. Okay. Keep going that way. I don't care. Ah, coming this way. Going up. Back. Right? Kick. Those takedowns. I love them. Yeah, no, as cheap as this was, you know, I hummed and hawed about getting it. I hummed and hawed about getting an actual one. It's got some weight to it, but this has been surprisingly fun to try and explain how it works, and it shows things in a. I like it. I like it. Oh yeah, I did get something else. And of course, this would be easier again if I had another person. This isn't what I got. I have had this for a while. No, I don't actually train with this. I got it more as a teaching tool than an actual training device. Although I have thought about trying to get some proper, somebody that's actually training, because my seafood doesn't do this. And just to learn it, play with it. To me, it's just a teaching tool, and not a great one, because if you get people that use this too much, then when they take it off, they run the risk of doing that. All right? It has to be used for its intended purposes, which is just to teach you rotations. That's not what I wanted to show you, but I do use it for demonstrative purposes, right? All of those motions can be argued with that. Pointing out that, remember I said there's a curve and a straight? This is just the curve, but the energy is forward. So I'm not turning it to the side. This is rotating because this point is going to go forward. He turns because the contact is here and the pressure is that way. And as you pressure into the body, that just continues. It's not because I'm doing that. It's forward. See that? It's forward. Same thing. It's forward, but it turns. Okay, this is what I got. These two things today. And I'm going to show you this one with my jong, even though it's not finished, as I keep saying. Up. Okay, so I did go downstairs and I grabbed my jong arms, incomplete as they are as well. Like, way too square, way too big. It fits, but it's too big. I need to shrink these holes. What I figure I'm gonna do, kind of measured it out a little bit. I've got these that were just off of there, right? Pop them in. Might have to shape it in a little bit. There. And then I would stick that in with it. But because this will be chopped down a little bit, that'll be a better fit. And all of that flat wood will help with all of the jaggedness from the chiseling I did. That's not flat in there. This may not work so well with this arm, but I'm going to try it anyway. Oh, speaking of which, that forwarding thing I said where it lifts him up, remember I'm not lifting up that way, I'm just going forward, right? It lifts. Physics. Physics. Where did I put that thing? There it is. This is why I think this is kind of cool. Because, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't exercise properly, but, you know, some kind of muscular tension thing. It actually feels really good. What I wanted to point out is this. I don't know if you can see them. Those roll, yeah? So if I hold that straight-ish, there, see it rolls? So any incoming straight-on force should, small as it would be, remember this is physics, and in physics, small angles, small sizes do make a huge difference. It all expands out. You think of your protractor, you know, that may be 45 degrees, right? The bottom down here is a lot closer than my fingertips up here, and it just keeps growing. Those small amounts make a huge difference here. And when your life is on the line, I think that matters. So as this comes straight forward, it should create and again, this is bad. This is not a proper way to demonstrate this. This would be much easier if I had a training partner, but it should create a small redirection off that way. So if I actually had somebody here coming at me, and especially because, you know, we have joints, right? I could hold this, and they should be able to just roll right off. But then if I add in other motions, right? Really just don't want this to fall down. Add in other motions to that, other directional forces. This isn't press, it's not just this. Both hands. So this is my point of contact. My point to focus on my pressure is about there. Now, yes, it's coming from my hands, but I'm focusing on that's where my direction is, because that's that path right there. Right? I know you can't quite see it. I wish I could demonstrate. I don't know if I can. Whew, this might be tricky. Okay. That might be the best I can get. There's my point of contact. The way my hips are, my directional force is there, which you notice is not actually where my point of contact is. It's slightly off. My pressure is not just here, using both hands. So I'm focusing that pressure there. Right? If I focused just up top, then I'm giving him a sideways. If I focus from the bottom, I'm sideways. And it's even if I just use this hand into his center here, that's all that gap, right? Get the elbows in, elbow pressure forward. Yeah, this would be much easier with training partner. Yeah, I'm gonna have to test this thing out. I have some ideas for it, like I said, when they just come punch straight in, and then you add all your extra steps just to make it more, but they should graze off. Okay. Okay. See that? See if I can get that a little bit better. Okay. So full extension there. Bring that back to along the same line. Intercepts it here. And it rolls. This doesn't have to move. And any pushback is met with redirection. Okay, I'm going to end it on that note. Geometry, physics, and responsiveness. Have a great week.